Welcome back, everyone. This is a subject for the podcast I've really been itching to dive into. And as I was thinking about it, I said to myself, who can I bring on that is going to appreciate the subject matter and have a good take on it? And that's how we landed here. Mike Sykes, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on, dude. I really appreciate it. And I'm really excited to have this convo.
And I think the last time we did a podcast, it was like Saturday, an hour or two after sneakers, Twitter was having a moment where sneakers was the devil and the world was ending. And we were like, we gotta hop on it and talk through this. So it's good to have you back. But just a little background for people who might not be familiar with you. You do some awesome things on the internet.
Yeah, man. So I write the Kicks You Wear newsletter, which is like sort of this coalescence of like all of the intersections of sneakers, whether it's like sneakers in business, sneakers in tech, sneakers in sustainability, healthcare, whatever. Like I'm writing about it and just trying to tie in sneakers to everyone's world to make them understand that like sneakers are simple, but they also matter to your everyday life. And then I also do the sneaker unboxing show with USA Today, special delivery, where we unbox sneakers, hyped, non-hyped, whatever comes our way, really, and just try to break down the stories that come with them. So it's a lot. It's a really busy time for me, but always down to chat about sneakers, man. I love doing this. So
I love that. And the only reason I smiled a little bit and laughed there was you've almost memed yourself with the last video with all the Nikes. I saw that making its round, but that's what happens when you do more video. Yeah. Like I've noticed on my podcast when I'm really thinking with the subject, I play with my beard and I'm like, I gotta fucking stop doing that. I gotta keep my hands down and just focus on the camera.
Just be normal.
Be normal, right? Or just
I've honestly just learned how to like lean into it. Like if you're gonna meme me, just do it, man. Like I mean,
it's the internet. The internet will take an inch and stretch it 10 miles and it's fine.
Yeah.
But anyways, on the subject, what we're talking about here that I teased and then proceeded to not talk about, it's the dynamic of basically people saying, well, if they just made more, it would be okay. Just make more sneakers. And what I've seen this year is, and over the last year especially, but more prevalent this year is that does not work. It is detrimental to the brands because the famous word gets thrown around, which is, oh, it's a brick. I think that's happened a lot. A really easy example to make is the undefeated Air Max 97 from ComplexCon. That sneaker was like $1,000. You only could have got it at ComplexCon. There was, let's say, a couple hundred pairs available, and then Undefeated released it, and I think it's below retail on secondary sites. That is a great example of just make more. The people want it. Just give us what we want, and then the brands give you what you want. And people don't want it anymore.
Right.
What's your first kind of gut reaction to that?
It's kind of disappointing for me when I see stuff like that, because like I'm firmly in that they should make more camp. Even though like I understand the pros and cons that come with it. I think that when they make more sneakers, generally I'm all for giving the power back to the consumer in this scenario, and I think that is a scenario where the consumer has the power. So when I see sneakers that are sitting, or like there are more pairs available and nobody's buying them up, it is kind of disappointing to see like not just the sneaker sitting, because to me that's fine, but really more so the reaction from people where they're like, these shoes are bricks, these shoes failed, these shoes aren't worth me picking up, because if I buy them, I can't sell them for anything. One, that's not really what we buy shoes for. Like, and two, it's like, okay, somebody likes these shoes. So it's like you're saying that this shoe that somebody out there loves is worthless because it has no positive value or monetary value on the secondary market. And I just think that's a backwards way of looking at it, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think that's the core of what the problem is our collections and our sneakers can be instantly valued like they never were before. But we'll touch on that in a bit, because it was interesting with the Lightning 4s this weekend. That was the biggest release of this season for the brand There's late shipments, there's delays, it hasn't fully rolled out, but there's kind of a feeling going around, or I shouldn't say feeling, there's chatter, voices, people are saying shit, that it's not as good, or, oh, now everyone can have it, I don't want it. It's been 15 years. We can't do that to sneakers to the point where say people have been demanding those shoes to come back and they finally do and they go, damn, not interested anymore. We're never going to win if we keep doing that to the brands.
It's weird, man. And that's like, because I did see a lot of people online this weekend saying that, like, not even like I don't want these shoes anymore, but now that I bought these shoes, I don't really like them. And it's like, okay, like,
they're fire. Let's just set the record straight. They're fire.
Like, I didn't get them. I didn't go for them, and it wasn't because they weren't good, or I didn't think that I would like them. Like, I would love the Lightnings, but at the end of the day, like, I feel like, one, going for every single release is just kind of exhausting to me. So, like, I try to take a step back every once in a while. Like, I've given myself this band that I'm probably going to break, where like I can't buy sneakers until October, which, like, doesn't really bode well for me with the social status and the JFG releases and everything else. So that's probably not going to work out. But I think going back to the Lightnings, it was weird seeing that sort of reaction from people, because this was a shoe that, like, one, there's a lot of nostalgic value in it for a lot of people, right? Like, they remember the '06 release and they kind of want to go back there and buy that sneaker and sort of relive that. And so I think the more pairs the better, in my opinion. And so, like, I think for people to not kind of understand that aspect of it, it feels like the consumer, or at least a segment of consumers, have a little bit of tunnel vision when it comes to some of these drops.
Our attention span is really, really short right now.
Right.
And this isn't just the Lightning Force thing. I just bring it up because it's relevant to this recent release weekend. I don't know when this will air, but recently the Force dropped. But you can look at the Air Max 90 Bacons this year. You can look at almost every undefeated drop from the 5 on it set. There's something that happens to us, like the Air Force One from the last set, the white one with the hints of blue and the sail and the different materials. That is a beautiful looking shoe.
Amazing.
Yeah. I want to say secondary market, it's like 160, 170. People aren't as interested in it because it's not worth $300. And I think that's kind of the root of the problem, is we want it to be special, but we've forgotten to just appreciate sneakers for what we thought they were special for, or why we care about them. That's to me, I think that's where it's coming from, right? As soon as that value dips, fragment threes, those are like $1,500, and then they hit sneakers and the price cratered to like 400, and everyone's like,
You see that sort of reaction, and it's like, man, like, I struggle to understand really what people want out of this thing sometimes, because, like, there are times where, like, you'll have a shoe that people go, like, for example, the Bodega 15-year anniversary 990 V3, like, that was a shoe that, like, I really thought that people appreciated, and there were a lot of pairs to go around, and it felt like that was a pair that, like, really hit home with a lot of people. And maybe that's because there are a lot of Bodega fans, but, like, that was a shoe that I thought, like, there were just enough pairs to go around. It had the perfect treatment, and the people received it well. But then, like you said, like with the fragment threes, it's like, yo, like, I just don't know what we want anymore. Like, it's like, I don't know.
Let's go even recently, the last fragment dunks. I feel like my list could be so long this year. Clot Air Max 1s, all 3 of them at this point. Anything that's really good that they give us a lot of, it loses its jazz because it's not the same it's not looked at the same anymore. And that's sad. And we're not grateful, right? It goes like, I never get any good wins. But, like, realistically, the brands don't want you to have the Travis Scott Jordan ones. They don't want you to have it. Like, straight up. If they wanted you to have it, they'd let you have it. And actually, if they let us have it, we'd probably complain that we don't want it.
Right. I was going to say, we probably wouldn't want it anymore, honestly. And like, that's the thing, right? That's the thing that everybody wants. They want the super hyped mega collab joints
Yes.
that they see on like IG and Twitter and everything. It's like you just can't have those, y'all. Like it kind of is what it is, because like we want every shoe, and we want the shoe to be exclusive. And like this is also what I was saying with the off-white dunks and the exclusive access and everything.
Yeah.
Like look, I didn't like the way that they dropped those shoes.
Agreed.
But if we are gonna live in this world where like we have these exclusive shoes, and there's exclusive access that exists, and not everybody has a pair, and we want to feel special
Yeah.
for our shoes, and that means that there are gonna be people who miss out, and like that is just a natural part of the life cycle of a sneaker today,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And it's like, yeah, like you can be upset with the you know, the algorithm basically choosing you,
Yeah.
essentially, right? And
Yeah.
like that part sucked. Like I'm well aware that sucked, but like I just don't really know how much room we have to complain when it's like this feels like what we want.
I agree. Me personally, I don't think I've ever had a better sneaker year in my life. Like, I got the I'm on your threes. Were the Notre Dunks January? I don't. Was that?
Yeah,
Was it?
that
Wow.
was January. Yeah, dude, it's
Wow.
crazy.
That is the longest year of 9 months of my life. It's September 1st for everyone listening. We recorded. Man, I just feel I wanted the Air Max 90 Bacons. I have all three clots. I just got the Sakai's. I bought a couple dunks here and there. I didn't get the Travis Scotts, but I was also kind of like, I knew I wasn't expecting to get it. I didn't get the Unions through that raffle, but I feel like I've had a great sneaker year, but maybe that's because I'm making the choice to just be happy with the stuff we're getting and not hanging my hat on Off-White Dunks and Travis Scott Jordan 1s.
I think that's the key for a lot of this, right? It's like at a certain point, if you truly love this stuff, I mean, you don't even have to love it. Like if you're just a fan of sneakers, or you like generally like them,
You're
then like,
even just an enthusiast. You don't have to be
yeah,
a fanatic.
yeah,
You don't have to be crazy.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. If you're just an enthusiast, if you're just a sneaker enthusiast, then like you should really take the time to appreciate some of the gems that you have. And like the thing about it is like oftentimes you don't even have to hit on every single, because like there's a collab that comes every weekend, and that's intentional. Like they bombard us with these things so that we always feel like we are missing out, or that we missed on that moment, and want to come back for more the next weekend. Or like maybe now that we've missed on the Travis low, we'll just buy a general Jordan 1 low, right?
Yeah.
And so like if you just take your time, know that you're not getting everything. That's just not possible.
No,
you can't do that.
No, and this is a prime opportunity to say out loud to everyone: bots don't fix your problem. You could spend thousands of dollars on a bot and still take just as many L's.
Yo, they're legit, like botters even have problems with this. So it's like
blotters complaining is maybe my favorite Twitter screenshot.
It's the best. But it's like, look, like there's nothing that you can do to get every single drop. So like really the best use of your time is appreciating the things that you have, and just really honestly, like sometimes you just got to dig in the crates and just see, like, go through like the back channels of like random brands, or like maybe go on like Concepts or Packer or whatever, and like see what they've got sitting, because like there's some good stuff sitting. And like if you go cop it, like your collection will be nice.
I think that's what I think people might need to take like a moment to reflect on, like, what makes me happy as a sneakerhead. And I don't think there's a wrong answer, but if your answer is I want top tier hype shit, the most limited sneakers, period, then you need to have the understanding your success rate is going to be drastically lower, and your happiness level might not be where you want it to be, if that's what's going to define you as a sneakerhead. And you say you can build your collection. Like, kind of what started this conversation for us was I DM'd you about the Sakai Blazer lows. You know, the black and whites that were recently released were really easy to get. The one that came right after that, tan, I think it was like a tan. Yeah, tan. I think you can still get that. in some places. Undefeated just restocked the white and orange one. Those are great shoes. They look great. It's a collab. It's got a little history to it. If they had made those sneakers with 1/3 the stock, I think people would be like, what the fuck? I didn't get them. I want them. And that is where I get to, like, I feel like we're never going to make some people happy.
They're just going to be people who just aren't happy with this stuff. And that kind of is what it is. But like, I just think that like everyone taking a second to kind of evaluate, like you said, evaluate what it is that drives them in this thing. Cause like, I mean, let's be honest, like there are some people who are in this culture just to get paid, you know, and like, look, if that's what pays your bills, like cool, like whatever. Like, I'm not gonna knock you for trying to earn a living or whatever. But like, I just think it creates the illusion for some people that like you can go through this thing and you'll get every single drop, and that's just not possible. It's not realistic. And like you said, the brands don't really want that.
No, and that's what scares me the most is like if Nike does a project kind of debrief recap after the Air Max 90 Bacon and goes, hey, we brought back a classic that everyone really, really wanted. We produced it at a volume that we thought was right, but it kind of took some energy away from the shoe historically. Are they going to look at the next retro and go, let's make less? Like, are we going to influence them to produce less of these things? Because they have a clear roadmap to me these days. It's kind of like the dunk rollout was a great one, even though it's taking far too long to get to the point. The dunk rollout was Travis Scott and the Off-White dunks. Okay, that's what started it, right? And then it was more collabs and then GRs and more, like now we have a dunk drop every weekend.
Right.
Next year will probably look like dunks literally everywhere. And then my question is, and I asked this in January because I thought it was coming sooner, but worldwide shipping delays have changed that. But are people going to think dunks are bricks and not want to wear them next year? Like, is that a fair question to ask if they're more available? I
think we're already seeing it in some cases where, like, I mean, like you just talked about with the fragment dunk, it's like, it's barely retail now. And it's like, wow, like I honestly, when that dropped, I thought that was going to be one of the hottest drops of the year. Like I thought it would be going for $600, $700, $800 all year.
Yeah,
long. And
it's a dunk. It's got a fragment lightning bolt on it. I figured it'd be 450, 500, no problem. And then it came through a restock on SoleSavy, and I'm like, all right, cool. This is a dope shoe. I don't want it if it's $500 because I don't want the headache that comes with it.
Right.
But if it falls into my lap like that, it's a good looking sneaker. I'm in.
Why not? Yeah, why not? And that's I feel like that's the beautiful part about this whole life cycle for me. Like like I've long been a fan of the dunk as a silhouette, like even before the hype kind of brought it back, and I was thrilled to see that.
I remember you tweeting. Don't worry. You don't gotta prove yourself here.
I mean, I'm just giving everybody a little context.
I know.
But it's like, man, like it's been a frustrating couple years, honestly. But like seeing it come back in this way, like it's exciting because I know once this dies down, there's a lot that I'm going to have to choose from and other dunk lovers are going to have to choose from. So it's really just about like being patient and kind of waiting it out, honestly. But that's the thing, is like a lot of people don't really have that sort of patience.
And I thought, I'm going to say Nike in the brands, like I know New Balance specifically looks at like resale prices, like they've said it.
Mm-hmm.
And as I say New Balance, I'm remembering the Ame Leon Dor, I want to say 1500s. I might be wrong. Please don't hold me.
550.
No.
Oh, you mean the pre-order?
The pre-order one was a 1500.
Okay, yeah, it was a 1500.
Yeah, it was 1500. I remember when that showed up, I was like, sign me the fuck up. I'm taking both pairs. That's the Ame green. That's a nice pink. I don't have sneakers really in a pink color like that. Salmon, Canadian. And the green. I pre-ordered both, got them both, love them, stoked. And I see people trying to get rid of them. And I want to understand that mentality of, they literally said like, we'll make as many of these as you people want, and that's it. And then they did it, and they're like, I'm over it. Maybe it took 9 months. Maybe that's the problem. But that's an ideal situation to me. If you told me I could pre-order Cool Gray 11s in January to get them in December, done.
Easy.
Done.
Easy money. Like
Done. Done.
That's literally perfect.
But again, what happens if they make 4 million pairs and everyone has them? I know I personally don't give a shit, but, and I don't think you give a shit either, but will we see a shift in going, oh, Jordan Brand ruined a classic sneaker?
Yeah,
it might be a dumb question to ask, but I feel like it's almost valid to say out loud right now.
No, for sure. I mean, it wasn't like what 6-7 years ago where we had Jordans everywhere sitting on shelves. Like I remember the 2015 Aqua 8 drop where like they were just
True Blue threes.
Dude, they were just there. And I'm like, this is great. This is awesome. But then like you see the way that Nike reacted and now like we can't get anything anymore.
This is literally the fault of all of us in 2015 and 2016. There's literally everyone's fault back then, because like give me some Doctor Strange powers to go fix the timeline and I'd go back and I'd buy every Jordan that sat to avoid the situation we're in right now. I remember when we launched SoleSavy, it was summer of 2018. I scooped up like 40 or 50 pairs of Shadow Ones, just thinking, I was like, oh, people might want it. It'll be cool to have it in our store and sell it for retail, etc. I couldn't get rid of them. And I took out like 15K on my credit card to order some of this shit, right? It was hard to get rid of. I remember the Obsidian Jordan 1s in size 13s and 14s under retail on secondary marketplaces, right? So I feel like we did this to ourselves and the brands are punishing it for us. And they're trying to give us like a leash and say, hey, look, here's more. And we are responding poorly to that, in my opinion.
Yeah. And that's the scary part, right? It's that like, as we move into the future, like you said, maybe they just peel back on a lot. Like maybe they don't even bring back some of the retros that we enjoy, you know? It's like you really don't know how they'll react. But I think like it honestly isn't something that like concerns me too much, I guess, because the way that I sort of look at it personally is like, all right, like whatever's coming down the pipe, like I'll be excited for it, right? Like I'm a fan of this culture. I'm a fan of its history. I'm a fan of what's coming in the future, right? And so like I think, you know, maybe if we get to that point again, maybe you have like another Adidas boom or something where like somebody goes crazy with
that was great for the industry.
Yeah, that's like the sort of reaction to that, where you have people who are like, all right, like I'm cool on these Jordans right now, but like, yo, like this over here, this is pretty dope. And this is something that like I can definitely get down with. Like styles change, people's personalities change, people's sensibilities change. And as those things change, I think footwear changes with it. And so like, that's the sort of thing that I look forward to. So like, if we lose retros, it'd suck for sure. But like, I try not to worry too much about it though.
I don't think we'll lose retros.
We'll never, we're not going to lose retros.
Yeah, that's not. It's a multi-billion-dollar W there for them,
right?
Yeah, but again, it's just it is interesting because they do look at this stuff. Now, I don't know Nike as a company. Do they say, oh, we care that the Travis Scott Jordan 1 high is $3,000? Like that was a win for them from a cultural relevance standpoint, or like a barometer of hype type of thing, or you know, again, how much it matters to people. I don't know if they care about that. I guess my concern is like, if they do care and certain things miss the mark, will that affect us down the line for future stuff? And to your point, I mean, I should just not care because I can't control it. I can't control that. They're going to do what they're going to do. I guess my point is just like, just buy more shit that you like. Forget if you can sell it at some point. Forget if it's worth a lot of money, or it could be trade bait. We need to be more rooted in the shit that we love and appreciate.
Right.
Because I think I would imagine, I think you have this similar collection of mine, which is like, I got shit for $40 that like means something to me.
Oh my God.
And I will rock that shit proudly. would I like to add a Travis Scott Jordan 1 low to my collection? Yeah, it's a dope looking shoe, but man, I ain't shelling out $1,300. This goddamn trip to Mexico. Like,
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. And I also don't want to make it seem as though like I'm like holier than thou, where like I'm not going for like hype stuff, you know? Like I don't want people to think that that's like, because everybody does that, right? Like everybody does that, and it's totally okay to do that.
Yeah, just don't let it make you miserable when you don't get it.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, like did I sit around my computer waiting for the Travis Scott raffle to go live on his website? Yeah, I did. I did. Did I curse and have a shitty weekend when I didn't win the raffle and I saw the 3 million bot entries and all that stuff? No, I didn't. I moved on. I guess I'm just curious, what's the next generation of sneakerheads gonna look like?
I'm 28, but
Okay.
I have a brother who is 18.
Okay.
He's about to turn 18, and
Okay.
like he is interested in. He's at the point where I was when I was 18, where he is like very interested in sneakers, but also very broke. So it's like he doesn't really know. Like he's
typical sneakerhead though. Like that's
yeah,
where we all
yeah,
start.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. He's like at the spot where like he's like, yo, bro, like what you got that you're not wearing? Because I'll take it. I'll wear whatever. And like I think a lot of kids have a real appreciation for one, like the retro culture, the same retro culture that like we've been used to for all these years, which I think is good and healthy and really good for like the history of sneakers and just kind of preserving that. But like they're also I really can't get a sense of their style sensibilities, because like it shifts so fast. And that's like one of the things that my brother has been telling me. It's like,
Yeah.
you're like the stuff that you guys will be stuck on for 2 or 3 months, like we'll be done with that in like 2 weeks. Like they're like the as large as like sneaker TikTok is, like
Yeah.
there's just too much out there, and like they just move from thing to thing to thing.
Our attention span is tiny, and we haven't even touched on replicas, which I don't know that we should. I literally did another podcast about it, but I guess I'll post the question for you. Have you ever considered buying a replica because you couldn't get the OG original? And how does your younger brother, has he ever made a comment or talked to him about it? I'm just curious from that demo.
Absolutely not. No, he's definitely not. He's more of like, yo, like whatever is cheap and I like it, I will rock it. You know, which is like the mentality that like I like to see in him. Like that's stuff that like I've tried to preach to the youngers that have come up and that I know that are into sneakers. Cause like I'm telling you, like, yo, you will go broke chasing a lot of this stuff, yo. And like you already don't have that much money. Like you can't really live like that. So like whatever you can get for $30, $40, $50, that's kind of fly and easy to come up on, better do it.
Yep, absolutely. And as you were talking, I looked at my background. I don't want to sound like a hypocrite because I got some heaters in the top row, but like
yeah, you definitely do. Definitely do.
It's not that I laid down $3,000 for Chicago Off-Whites, right? That happened through an in-store raffle and so forth. You know, the Yeezys are a decade old. I guess maybe I'm coming from a point like my collection is a little bit bigger, so I'm not as particular, but I still think it is rooted in the fact, like, man, I just love a good shoe. And there's a whole spectrum of that. We don't want people to get lost in everything else. Here's another question for you. Do you think transparency from the brands would help more? Like if you opened up the sneakers app and it said 100,000 active users, 10,000 pairs available, you have a 4% chance of winning your size. This is not math. I'm not doing math. I'm just saying numbers out loud, by the way.
Yeah.
Would that make you feel better?
Absolutely. I've written about this a ton. I think that would, one, not only make me feel better, but two, I think it would earn the brands a lot more trust from the consumer, which I think is very important for the sort of ecosystem that we live in. Like it's very hard, especially after the Off-White exclusive access debacle that we just witnessed. Like it is very important for brands to continue to find ways to establish lines of trust between them and the consumer. Like, you have people going through all of these different hoops and hurdles to try and unlock exclusive access with the off-white drop, and they're not getting it. You're telling them what to do and it's not working, and then they see people who are not doing it and it's working for them, and it's like, what's going on? And so like I think if you feed people information, you give them you, not necessarily access, but like just let them know what it is, man. Cause like that's all people want, is like an honest chance to cop, or to know their honest chances of actually buying a shoe. So if you give them that, I think that does everybody some good.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna play devil's advocate. What if you opened up the app and you saw the Air Max 90 Bacon was gonna have 1 million pairs, and there was 1 million people who are on the app right now looking to buy it? You're guaranteed to get a pair. Do you second guess submitting the entry?
Me, absolutely not. No,
Right.
I wanted the bacons. I wanted the bacons, and so I would
Yeah.
do it. But I could see a lot of people
Right.
being like,
That's an extreme. Yeah, that's an extreme example. I just want to make, like, basically it would be clear you looked at it and you're like, oh, there's way more of this than the demand supply needed. Would you second guess it? And I guess to answer my own question is, it seems like it would affect people based off what we're seeing with some availability of certain shoes, and
Right.
whether it sits or goes below retail.
Yeah, no, that's a good point though. That's a good point, and I think that's exactly why we don't see brands doing that sort of thing, because like, like it doesn't really serve them at all, aside from having people trust them. But like, we all also just come back to the sneakers app the next weekend anyway. Like, so it's like, do they really need to do that? I don't know. I don't think so. But I think like the closest thing that I've seen to that is maybe like the New Balance queue that they have on their site. Maybe. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. But like, even that is still like
Yeah.
kind of,
It's
wonky.
we're asking a lot of questions, and this is like one of the things I'm trying to figure out at SoleSavy, but it's going to take a longer time, is like, what is that balance of transparency and insight and access that makes everyone happy but doesn't take away from it? And I feel like we're like just skewing every which way all the time right now. It's going to be very interesting 2022 next year. Yeah, I'm very curious what sneaker culture is going to look like in a year's time. September 2022, we'll do a recap of what just happened in the last 12 months, because I feel like as things open up, depends what happens with production. We can't ignore that. I think brands are struggling with it. Logistics will get better, but as you know, they're doing stuff 18 months in advance.
That's the other thing people don't really like get with a lot of this stuff, is that like these sneakers that they're seeing rolled out every weekend, they've been talked about way before that moment. They've been discussed, developed, tested. Like, there's a lot that goes into it.
And you know what, the thing I'm most curious about? Who nailed the aged sole look, the sale look? Who got that? Because like, it's everywhere, and when you think about it, it's not like they were like, oh shit, let's make aged sole sneakers right now. The production times take 9 months, 12 months, 18 months. Like, how did we get here? Who did this?
Right.
I feel like someone like inceptioned the idea into sneaker culture and was like, yeah, we're just gonna do it. Everyone's gonna fucking love it in 2 years.
That is a great question. I honestly never thought about that. But that's
a fire. You look at the Amamani threes, like, it was such a perfect execution to the time and materials and quality and color blocking. But how did he know?
Right. And that's why folks like James are who they are, because Absolutely. They have that foresight, like they can see these trends coming before they even come. So
right. And my question, I just feel like the trend, I feel like Nike did this to us. They planted it and
they broke us, man.
Oh, we need a psychologist on the next episode. We're getting into life's biggest questions, and I'm now talking about we're going off the rails here. My moral of the story is, again, look at yourself and understand what's going to make you happy as a sneakerhead and be realistic about your expectations for that. If you want Travis Scott off-white dunks, I'm on my threes. If you want really top level stuff, understand you're probably going to get like 1 in 10 unless you get a little lucky. All right, that's reality. But if you can come down a couple levels, be appreciative of lightning fours, which everyone should be appreciative. I'm not going to use that example; it's a terrible example. Just figure out where your happiness is and own that, and don't get lost in anything else. That's my advice for anyone who made it to the end of this podcast. What about you?
Yeah, man, I would agree with that. I would also just add, man, appreciate what you got, man. Like my mama used to tell me, like when I wanted McDonald's, we got food at the house. You want some new kicks? You got kicks already on the shelf. Like, appreciate them, bro.
Cool, dude. I appreciate you jumping on and chopping it up with me and chatting through some things. Where can people find you on the internet?
Yeah, man. Follow me on Twitter at Mike D Sykes, on Instagram at Mike D Sykes. Subscribe to the Kicks You Wear, kyw.substack.com. And you can find my sneaker unboxing shows at For the Win on USA Today.
I might have a surprise coming for you. We'll talk about this offline and leave people with a cliffhanger.
Cool.